This is a love story. It begins, this excerpt, on page 324. I'll give you a quick intro to the story. Walter, mid-40s, and Ellie, mid-30s, are two divorced strangers who live in San Francisco's Marina District. They're regulars at Joe's bar, where they go not for alcohol, but for Joe and the comforting crowds. They arrive alone and leave alone. Badly wounded by divorce, neither wants anything to do with the opposite sex. But with Joe's encouragement, this is the third time they've sat next to each other at his bar. Joe arrives with Ellie's tea. He nods at Walter. Great to see you again. He nods at Ellie. Both of you. He leans close to them and winks. Together again. The counter trembles as he clumps away. You don't drink? She asks, pointing to his Perrier. I do, sometimes. He points to her tea. What's your story? Sometimes it's just a control thing. Yeah, me too. Ellie leans forward to doctor her tea. Walter gasps. Her little black dress is all cleavage and not much else. She catches him staring. She turns to him, not smiling. Suddenly she stands. Walter takes her arm, his face hot. Ellie, I'm sorry, don't go. She pushes his hand away, lifts her coat off the stool, and slips it on, standing close to him as she buttons it, bottom to top, so very slowly. Her breasts disappear like a reverse striptease. She sits back on the stool. So Walter, she stares at him, her face expressionless. How long since you've had sex? Long enough, I'm not sure I'll remember what to do when, hey, they say it's just like riding a bike. Complicated, but it all comes back to you. A bike? You think? She nods. So I've been told. How long? He still feels the warmth in his face. He clears his throat. Well, he closes his eyes. About 9 years. 9 years? I've been angry, he says, and tries to smile. 9 years, plus or minus. Plus or minus what? A couple of times near the end when she wanted me to think things were okay. So she could do what? Ah, you've been there, he says. Yes. My last sex was the night before the bitch cleaned out our joint account. She touches his arm. Joint accounts should be banned, she sighs. And marriage, possibly men too. Her hand squeezes his arm. But not you. I like being here, sitting next to you. What about you, he asks. What about me what? Last time you had sex. She sips her Earl Grey, then lowers the cup. 3 years ago next month, the night before he left. Because he wanted to what? Just wanted me to use me. He hadn't loved me in a long time. I was just too stupid to notice. She shakes her head. But that's what you men do, right? She squeezes his arm again. I'm sorry, not you. Most men use love to get sex until they get bored. And then they find another girl or just move out. Ellie, you don't have to. And in my case, Henry did both. She's speaking too loudly now. Left for LA with that bitch from his office, and Joe appears in front of them, a glass of champagne in each hand. He holds one out to Ellie. On the house, he says. Got to use up the open stock. Governor's going to shut us down any day now. Ellie takes the glass, her hand shaking. Walter knows Joe has been keeping an eye on her from down the bar. Joe hands him the second glass and fills one for himself. A toast, Joe says, raising his glass, to recovery from pandemics and divorces. He gestures toward Ellie. Recovery always happens. Promise? Ellie's hand has stopped shaking. Promise, Joe says. They raise their glasses. To recovery, they say, and clink. Joe pours refills, raises his glass again. And to love, he says. They don't move.